Hey guys, how is it going? We are starting a new cycle this week for our Road Warriors programming. I'm going to look to mix things up a little bit, and instead of just doing straight up running, I'm going to throw in some mixed modal things. Just as a general outline, it is subject to change, kind of depending on everything that's going on, obviously, but I'm going to look to have Tuesdays be a little bit of a lower intensity day, maybe something like 20, 30, 40-minute pieces where we're just kind of rotating through a few different stations while maintaining nasal breathing and or covered with a mask, probably preferably on my end of things. Um, and just kind of some basic body weight movements too that we'll be seeing there. So just moving steady state, that'll be lower intensity on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, we're going to look to keep our higher intensity days, kind of keep some intervals, maybe shorter interval running, mostly running pieces on that day. So that'll be kind of maybe our hill sprints, our 100 meters, 200 meters, maybe 400 meters sprints with some rest. Various amounts of sets for that, depending on the length. And then on Sundays, we're going to look to do maybe some longer run intervals with maybe even throwing in some more mixed modal things as well. So I know Murph most likely isn't happening for us in its traditional sense this year, but I'm trying to kind of mix in some things as if we were maybe getting ready for some sort of virtual Murph. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So for today, we are starting with week one, day one of our new cycle. Our warm up is going to be 3 rounds of 20 jumping jacks, 10 alternating Spider-Man mountain climbers. I'll demonstrate those in a second. 10 alternating standing toe touches, and then 20 shoulder taps. So first thing, jumping jacks, feet together. You guys know the jumping jack, right? So we're doing 20 of those total. For the alternating Spider-Man mountain climbers, coming to a tall plank position, you can bring one foot outside of your same hand back to center, and then just alternating here. We're looking for 10 total. Maybe first round is a little bit slower, and then after that second round, you can jump into place there. So jump and switch as you get through that. Make sure you keep your abs on and engaged in that position so you're not just overextending, going through a lot of unnecessary flexion and extension there. Third movement of your warm-up, from a standing position, feet outside shoulder width. Then we're going to hinge, opposite arm touches opposite toe. So you guys know those. We're doing 10 of those total, so 5 each side. And then finally, we're going to finish out with some shoulder taps. So from the top of a push-up position, you can bring your feet a little bit wider, or maybe you're a shoulder tap pro. You can bring your feet together here and still try to minimize how much your hips swivel. So we don't want a whole lot of side to side here. We want to keep everything nice and straight and flat and touch your shoulder as best as possible, 20 total. So that's your warm up. We're looking for 3 rounds there. For your work today, your running work, we're going to have a 20-minute continuous clock where you are going to alternate between first a 400-meter run. So 400-meter run for many of the blocks in Park Slope, at least, one block from east to west, so from like 3rd Avenue to 4th Avenue or 4th to 5th, ends up being about 200 meters. So it'd basically be a down and back on one block. Okay, if it's not exact, you're just looking to run for about that. For most folks, it might take about, I don't know, anywhere around 2 minutes or so. So for 20 minutes, you're going to go 400-meter run. Then you're going to come to do some squats, 20 air squats, and then 10 push-ups. So feet are going to be in your squat stance, which is about shoulder width apart. Hips go back, knees go out. Hit full depth on your squat and stand, right? So from the side, squat stance, hips back, knees out, hit your depth and stand. You're doing 20 of those total, and then you're finishing out with 10 push-ups. So for the push-ups, from a tall plank position, feet are together, belly's nice and tight, coming all the way down until your chest touches, and then driving straight back up. You can totally modify this into a switch push-up, so maybe you come down strict under control, then you drop to the knees to come up, right? So that's kind of One way to modify, if that still isn't there where you end up crashing down, just start and finish from the knees. So from the knees, I'm still looking for a straight line from head to hips to knees, coming down, chest touches, and driving up. What we want to avoid when we're doing a knee push-up, if that's where you're at, is keeping your butt piked up a little bit too much here, right? So engage your abs, squeeze your butt so that you can form that straight line. So that's your running work for today. 20-minute clock where you are alternating between 400-meter run, 20 air squats, and 10 push-ups. So a couple notes. I already mentioned the distance for the run. For the air squats, just moving steady. We're not looking to blast through it because I do want you guys to stick to nasal breathing for all of this, or again, that mask that you're probably wearing when you're outdoors now. So that's going to limit the speed and how fast you can go. This is intended to be a lower intensity day, just moving through. For the push-ups, now I know you might be a little bit freaked out. Who knows what's on the floor out there? So you could either bring a pair of gloves to wear during this. It's not that hot outside, so you can definitely wear some gloves. Or maybe you're even bringing an extra handkerchief or a little towel or something that you can set down where you could actually pick it up and run with it and then bring it back down to set it down before your push-ups. That ends up freaking you out entirely, skip the push-ups. Not the end of the world. All right, so that's your running work. To cool down when you're done with that, I recommend a nice brisk walk back home or wherever your home currently is. And then you're going to spend 10 minutes accumulating 10 minutes in 3 stretches. First is couch stretch. So you guys can find a wall or a couch. You're going to bring one knee down. That same foot comes up along the wall. I'll then bring my other foot forward here and just kind of hang out here. So I do want to get my abs on, and I want to think about squeezing my butt so that I'm not just bent over here. If you're tight, this might be where you start, or maybe it just better serves you to bring that hand down. However, over time, you want to look to stand up, maybe even grab something to support yourself. You can grab the end of the couch to support yourself here. So I suggest at least 90 seconds per side. If you can do 2 minutes per side, that's great in a couch stretch. Squeeze your butt here. From there, take it into a down dog calf march. So you guys know these from a down dog position, just alternating which heel you come down. You can even bring that other foot onto that top heel, maybe give it a little assist, give it a push before you switch, right? So again, here about 90 seconds per calf. And then finally, maybe you did a lot of push-ups because you were moving at a good pace and you're a push-up ninja. We'll just get a little stretch through the pec and through your spine in a little prone scorpion. So facing down, again, ideally you're doing this at home. If you decide to do these stretches while you're still out, I would maybe just bias a wall, and I can show you that in a second. But if you're back home, you're going to tee your arms out to the side. Then from here, I'm going to bring my opposite, or my right heel towards my left hand, getting a little twist here, coming back to center, and then switching sides, right? So that should feel pretty good in your pec, your chest, and in your low back as you stretch everything out. Again, if you decided to do this outside, and you're probably not going to lay down on the floor, you can find a tree, find a wall, and just kind of put one arm out, get a little stretch this way here, holding for a few counts, and then back, alternating back and forth. So that was a long explanation today, but that's what we've got going on. Feel free to post any questions, comments, all that sort of stuff on the blog, and I'll get back to you. But looking forward to this cycle. Take care, guys.